welcome to my humble abode. We are gathered here today to discuss this printer. SparkNotes version. Do I recommend this printer? The answer is yes, especially if you have a very small space and you're making art prints specifically. If I was putting myself back in time to get it again, I would, yes. But more in-depth info later on in the video. I'll see you. I am Jen Carviel, a watercolor artist and illustrator, painting the small joys to remind us that joy does not have to be big to be impactful. Okay, all right, yes. I have acquired this little buddy about 3 months ago to start making art prints at home. And today I'm going to be sharing the good, the bad, the ugly, all the things about home printing with the Epson 8700 printer. Is that what it is? Confirmed, yes, 8700. For if you're thinking of making art prints at home or just want a good quality printer that specifically for images rather than documents, and if you're looking for something kind of budget friendly just because you're starting out. Before you get too far, I really do want to ask for that like and subscribe. If you see this personality and said yes, I'll throw you a like, I'll throw you a subscribe, I suppose. Chapters below to skip around and a real-time test print at the end of the video. Let's get into it. So why this printer specifically? I was looking for a budget-friendly option that was small enough for my home art studio. This is just like a little tiny corner of my apartment, so I literally don't have much room. I also needed something good quality image. This is for art prints, not for documents, so I needed something that could capture a clear image very well. I also needed it to be borderless, just in case I needed to do any promotional or marketing materials with it. I needed it to be compatible with 8x10 sizes and 5x7s. Those are the two sizes I offer prints in, and it was very important to me to have those two sizes compatible. I also wanted to be able to print on cardstock and postcards. My favorite things about this printer so far is the quality is amazing. I actually love the quality of this printer. I was super anxious when I got a printer that I would be sacrificing quality because for some reason I'm like, oh, if I outsource my art prints, that means they have the magic printer, the magic fancy printer that does it all right. Listen, this is also a magic fancy printer. I like this printer. No one's paying me to say this, but I do like this printer. It has a pretty sleek design and also has an easy and intuitive touchscreen. I also really like how the different compartments go into the printer, like it all compacts. It makes it pretty perfect for if you only have a small space. I also really like, it has a pretty easy fix when it comes to paper jams. There's like this I only had a paper jam once or twice, but it's very intuitive to fix it. It prompts you on the screen exactly how to do it, and the compartment comes under, I believe it's right underneath the printer. It comes off very easily and you just grab it out. I haven't had any problems with troubleshooting, any issues that come up with the printer, well, until we talk about the least favorite things later. Also awesome with this printer is it came with all of the ink ready to go right in the box. My least favorite things about the printer, and these are not things that would deter me from buying it in the first place, I'll just say that, but I do want to mention these things because I didn't foresee having to deal with them when I got the printer. The first thing used to be something that I liked that I now do not like, and it's that the printer has this automatic feature of a motorized opening of the tray when you print. It's motorized to open and motorized to close. And at first I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so magical. This is so cool. I'm living in the future. But after repeated use and like continual use of it, it's just become annoying to me to have to try to push this tray back in and the motor's fighting against me. I would prefer it to be manual where I just boop, put it back in rather than try to put it in and the motor's trying to push it out and in at the same. It's a little strange. It's not the worst thing in the world. It's not a deal breaker. It's just something to learn to deal with. Another issue I ran into with this printer is that it occasionally fails to pick up the feed of the 8.5x11 tray, and I'm sure that this is common amongst all printers at times, and it's not too frequent, it's just occasionally. I would say probably, I'm gonna say 3 times out of 10, it fails to pick up the paper. The way that I fix it is I just pick the paper back up, I make sure it's all neat and together, and I put it back inside and push it all the way to the front, so I essentially make sure it's really nice and easy for the printer to pick up. So there is a workaround to it. It hasn't caused me any problems that interfere with my business so far, but it is something to mention. So this is one issue that I wish I had a fix for, and maybe there is one, maybe someone will comment it below, but when you run out of colored ink, the toner runs out. It's black and white printing is supposed to be available, but I have not been able to do that. I had my magenta ink run out during the Christmas period when I had the largest number of orders to fulfill and the largest number of markets to prepare for, and my magenta ink ran out, sad face, and I was supposed to be able to print in black and white, which I needed to do for my Small Joys Club. This video is sponsored by the Small Joys Club! If you join the Small Joys Club, I will send you an art print and a letter every month to help celebrate those small joys. So I was trying to to print a letter for the Small Joys Club and I couldn't because the black and white function wasn't even working. I tried to Google around a little bit and I'm not the greatest looker of information, but I couldn't seem to get the black and white printing to work. Even though the instructions said that it should have been able to work, it was all because the magenta ink cartridge was empty. And I didn't even need it, I just wanted a black and white print. At the very least, all that means is that if black and white printing is available with this printer, it just means that it's not very intuitive to seem to get to use, or at least it's not intuitive for Jennifer's. So the last thing is that I was not able to find the ink for this printer in any store that's near me. Like I went to Staples, Office Max, Best Buy, I went everywhere I could think of to try to find ink because like I mentioned, I ran out of magenta during my busiest time of the year and I could not find it in stock in store anywhere. I was able to find like the regular magentas, but it was the light magenta that I was out of. Oh, maybe that's something useful to mention. I got the version with the light magenta and light cyan for increased quality of the printing color. If you are also getting this printer for your art prints, I highly, highly, highly recommend that you get extras of every single ink cartridge the second that you buy the printer. That way, like I have extras on my shelf right now. That way, if I run out, I can just pop it in there and then order. You always have extras on hand. That way your printer is not down at any moment. Now let's go ahead and do a little test print so you can kind of see the quality. I'll use both matte and glossy paper. Overall, I love the quality of this printer and the paper and everything like that. I could go back in time. Would I buy it again? The answer is yes, I would. I think it is a perfect, perfect, perfect starter printer for the print quality alone and for the size and how intuitive of a machine that it is. With that said, if you are printing a high volume of orders and if you have a large space, I highly do recommend upgrading to one of their other larger printers with more capacity for ink and more capacity for maybe quicker printing time. For my current size and demand of my art business, I think this is a perfect printer. I don't need anything else, but I really do look forward to the day when I have a lot of orders to fulfill and it would warrant getting a larger sized printer with larger ink cartridges that I would need to replace less frequently. Because I've had this printer, how long? I think about 3 months, and I have had to replace the magenta ink already, so I'm gonna be going through ink pretty quickly. Did you find this helpful? Do you want to be friends? Hit the like, hit the subscribe. Me and you, we're in it together. As always, spending any amount of time here on this channel with me is a gift. I really do consider it a gift, and for that, this humble artist says thank you. Tazo! So baby Tazo. Okay, okay. So much better. A million times better.